We're going to give a few more minutes for people logging on. I see several more of you joining us, and thank you for joining us for the Fitness Masterclass. And we have our featured guest here today is Alli Kerr. We're going to wait just a few more minutes for people to log on. I can see more are coming right now. We're going to have a great presentation here with Alli and get some really good information and fitness facts and get you inspired to get your week started. I always like to do things at the beginning of the week on Mondays because then it just sets the right tone for your week. So we're really glad that you're joining us today. You know, at the bottom, if you've noticed, for those of you who've already logged on, at the bottom we do have a chat bar. So if you have any questions during our webinar, you're welcome to ask questions. And if you want, you can say where you're coming in from, and that would be a lot of fun to tell people where everyone is calling in from. Let's see if we got some people logging in here. Let's see, Seattle, and let's see, hopefully we'll get a couple more locations here. Great. Yeah, we're looking forward to talking about the 5 ways to prioritize for your best workout. We're going to talk about a few of the nutrition tips. We're going to talk about 3 nutritional goals to set and keep. And we're going to talk about different ways that you can create health, energy, and physical fitness. And be sure to take a look at the bottom. There's a way that you can ask questions or you can share comments and feedback with us because this is live and this is one of the fun things that we get to do with it. So be sure to ask questions. And if you want, please let us know where you're calling in from. This will be a lot of fun for us. I know we had registered people from Australia and Seattle, Los Angeles, Atlanta, Maryland. So we're looking forward to talking with you all tonight. See. All right, we'll give about a couple more minutes and then we'll get started, about 2 more minutes here. We also have someone here from the UK, which is exciting. Great. Let's see, what other cities do we have here? Okay. Well, let's see. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm Laura Mak. I'm your host today for the Fitness Masterclass. And I'll give you a little bit of background information on me, and then we'll go ahead and introduce Alli. So I just want to thank you for joining us this afternoon. I have been in the fitness industry for over 20 years now, and I was a athletic scholarship at Michigan State for gymnastics, and then I stayed there and did my master's degree in exercise science. And during that time, I actually worked with 2 other partners, and we started the first at-home personal training business. And so if you think 20 years ago, that was kind of a cool thing then. It was like we were just getting ahead in that personal fitness training curve. So that was a lot of fun. Then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I did personal training there as well at one of the Gold's gyms down there. And I actually started a fitness clothing line along with competing in fitness. And fitness competitions are different than bodybuilding. We got to do all the dance and gymnastics along with the physique round. So I did that and earned a professional card, and I got to compete all over the world. So that was a ton of fun. And then I lived in Atlanta for 7 years, moved out to Los Angeles and lived there for about 13 years. And again, I just continued with my personal training. I worked with several athletes, a lot of moms and entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you what, I had so much fun working with a lot of those moms because working with people who couldn't even do 1 push-up and getting them to 5 push-ups to 30 push-ups to 40 push-ups it was pretty awesome. It was a really great experience. And then just recently I moved up to Seattle to be with family. I have 2 young boys, and my husband's family is all up here, so the kids will have cousins to grow up with. And so now I'm just getting back out and started with our fitness programming here in Seattle, which is actually a really healthy city, and I love it. So well, today is our first webinar, our first master webinar class. And so let's go ahead and introduce our guest here is Alli Kerr. Thank you so much for joining us today, Alli. There we go. Can you hear me, Alli?
Thanks so much for having me, Laura.
Awesome. Let's see, why don't you give us a little bit of background information and how you got started in fitness?
Absolutely. I actually started, as far as exercising and working out, I played sports in high school and even middle school, and from there I started training, and that is when I actually started really falling in love with fitness. I was a gymnast when I was little, like Laura. I never took it as far as you did. I just kind of played with gymnastics a little bit, but then in high school got into sports, and that is when I realized that I was actually good at weight training. For a small person, I was pretty sure I could some of the guys that push-ups and sit-ups, and I won like when they have the little physical fitness awards when you're in high school, and I would always do well in those things. And so I just fell in love with it, and I did not even know you could have a career in fitness then. I thought really the only career in that field was being a PE teacher. And so when I actually started college, I didn't really know about exercise science. So I started in the physical education arena or that major, and then I actually found out about exercise science and decided to get a degree in kinesiology and
Right.
exercise science from Georgia Southern University. And then I started working in cardiac rehab, hospital wellness, and just learning and meeting new people and doing lots of fitness assessments and working with all different ages and all different shapes and sizes and all different kinds of issues. And I actually did that for several years, and I took a little turn out of fitness for a short period of time and actually became a real estate agent, got into property management and real estate. And then I found my way back to fitness. Like Laura, got into competing, and I, just like Laura, was able to travel the world and really rise the ranks, get my pro card in the World Natural Bodybuilding Federation, and really just learned so much. I didn't have a clue, even though I had a degree in exercise science. I didn't have a clue how to get competition ready and competition learning. And so part of my journey and part of the thing that's really helped me help other women was having a coach myself and learning about nutrition and learning how to get my body to a place that I never even imagined I could take it, and I couldn't have on my own, only with the help of a coach. I actually met Laura through my fitness. We were at a bodybuilding show together. We went to the Arnold. I don't know if you remember that, Laura. We were at the Arnold, and Laura was promoting her clothing line, and I was promoting Liquid Egg White company, and she was doing some collaboration with them. So we were in the booth, and we actually stayed in a room together, and that's how we actually did it. I don't know how many years ago that was. Do you know, Laura?
Gosh, I don't know. That was probably like 7 or 8 years ago at least. Wow, that's right.
I don't know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, okay. At least. I think it was more than that, but I think it was more than that, yeah. And so we stayed in touch and actually did a fashion show with clothing line in Atlanta. So I actually modeled the Laura Mak line. I don't know if you remember that. So we just kept in touch over the years. And throughout my fitness journey, one of the things after I started competing, I actually just, of course, worked with a coach myself, and then went on and continued my education. I worked in college wellness after working in hospital state, college wellness, and from there I went and got my master's degree in administration and just continued doing health and fitness on a more administrative management level, not so much on the training people level. And from there, just kept competing and building my confidence. Competing taught me so much about myself, about training, and I just started, my passion just started growing again for work with others. And I actually decided to start doing some online coaching of clients. I did that for a little while, and then that led me to actually opening my own, it's called the Physique, and it's a women's fitness and training center, and we opened it in 2010. So that is really, and that's where I'm at today, and working with women, and now expanded into the online world. I have an online product that is opening up a whole new arena as far as fitness and my ability to reach not just hundreds now, but thousands of people to share all about how to get healthy and fit and lean.
Yeah. Well, it's been great watching your journey as you've grown through the industry. Like you said, we've met so many years ago, but you've made such an impact on so many women's lives. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you here today is so you could share some of those experiences and some of your expertise that you have. So I'm super, super excited to get started with this. And I'm going to put up a survey for our listeners that they can actually fill this out for. It's just 5 questions, and that way it'll give us a little bit of background about you, and that way about our listeners, and then that way we can also target any kind of questions going towards that. So you guys can get started that way. But we'll start with our first question, which is the 5 ways to prioritize workouts for your best results. And one of the first thing that Alli says is to do it the first thing. And can you tell us a little bit more about that, Alli, about prioritizing your workouts for the best results?
Yes, I am a believer if you can do it first thing in the morning, for most of us, especially if you're a busy person, doing it first thing in the morning is going to allow you to be more successful at sticking with exercise and getting in that workout. I call it the no-fail streak, to get in every workout. And one of those is workout in the morning. You're not going to have any meetings coming up. You're not going to have to stay late at work. So you're actually going to get your workout in before the day happens to you. And I look at it like financial advisors often tell us to pay ourselves first with our money. And I look at exercise the same way. If you exercise in the morning, you're paying yours first. And then everybody gets what's left of you the rest of the day, versus you going through your day and giving every piece of yourself away, and then at the end of the day having nothing left to give to yourself. So that's my first strategy for no fail strategy, to make sure you make every workout. And that may not be possible for everyone to work out in the morning.
Right.
And that's okay. It's just one of those things, if you can do it, and especially if you're a busy person and you find yourself workouts because you get busy or you get stuck at work or things come up that you're not expecting, then it may be time, even though a lot of us don't like to get up, it may be time to clear and get in our workouts. And it really gives us so much energy for the rest of the day when we do something for ourselves and we pay ourselves. It really just sets the tone for the whole day.
It really does. I'm a big believer in the morning workout as well. And, I think that's why I have so many clients early in the morning. I think I probably could train, 15, 20 people between 5 and 10 a.m. And it was, we had a good flow going there. And it definitely is a good way to start your day, like you're saying. Like, you're not going to have the other distractions. You're not going to have phone calls. You're not going to have emails that you have to respond to. If you can get your workout in before the kids are getting ready for school, then you don't have to worry about that part of it. So yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. But what would you say, Alli, to those who are just not a morning person, when they can barely make it after 2 snoozes and they're running out the door to work? What do you suggest for those type of people?
I would would just do it when you're at your best, when you have your most energy, if you can. Of course, some people don't have that option, and I know you mentioned moms, being a mom. A lot of moms, the morning is the only time they can get a little time for themselves to work out, so that works. But if you're just not a morning person, you have the ability to make that choose when you exercise, then choose the time of day that you feel at your best, and that can be your workout time. That may be 9 o'clock at night for you, and that's okay.
Right. Yeah, and I have some people that I like to tell them, even if you're not working with a personal trainer, because if you do work with a trainer, you're actually scheduling it into your weekly schedule, because you have to show up or else you're going to get charged. But if you're not working with a trainer, then you have to still schedule it into your routine. So then okay, from 5 to 6 I'm working out, or in the evening from 7:30 to 8:30 I'm going to get a workout in. But I think really knowing each day can be a little bit different, but knowing that you have that time set aside, then that's really important. Great. Let's move on to the next one. Creating adequate sleep schedule for the night
Yeah, when I was
before.
in competitions, I actually did my weight training at about 8 o'clock or 8:30 at night before bed. Sure. Yes, creating an adequate, we're going to be doing it first thing in the morning. Because if you don't go to bed, it's going to be, and you don't get enough sleep, it's going to be really hard to get a workout. And even if you do get up, let's say you are working with a personal trainer and you drag yourself to the gym to meet your trainer, you're going to be so tired during that workout that you're not going to get as much out of that workout as you would if you were to get adequate sleep. Now, getting adequate sleep, how do we do that? For, some people it's easier than others. Some people have more trouble to sleep, and some people wake up during the night. As women, we go through all kinds of changes, from maybe having small children or baby waking us up to get into our late 30s, 40s, 50s. We start going through hormonal changes, and that causes us to have problems with sleep. However, that is so pertinent to our being well rested, is very pertinent to getting an effective workout. So for some of us, it really does mean winding down, cutting off electronics. They've done studies that show that if we start cutting those things off, we're still looking at electronics that's stimulating our brain. And a lot of us are sitting in bed, going through the cell phone, through our computer or our iPad, and instead of shutting those things off and getting the room dark, getting the room quiet, so that we set ourselves up in an environment that is conducive to sleep versus continuing to keep that brain going, because we really want to start shutting our brain out. A lot of people do better if they start reading a book at bedtime. That kind of helps them wind down and turn off the TV. If your goal is to get up and do a 5:30 a.m. workout, and you've got to get up at 4:30 or 5, watching your favorite 10 o'clock show is probably not going to set you up for good success getting up the next morning. And then when you miss your workout, it's that boost of energy, and then you feel guilty that you didn't get in your workout. So going to bed and just setting that atmosphere for sleep is huge. Even if you're doing nighttime workouts. I know when I worked out and I had to do my weight training at night, I would come home, and the good news is it would wear me out so much from the workout that I would be able to kind of have me a little bit of a little protein shake, and then I just go right to bed after that. Some of us, we eat things at night that affect our sleep, high foods or high carbon fat foods. Those are the worst things to eat right before bed if you're wanting to get good sleep and feel good the next day. So that is one reason I would do like a protein shake, and I would just do a little bit, just enough to tide me over so I could go to bed and not be starving, but not putting in sugar into your body right before you go to sleep, because calories equal energy, and we don't need energy when we're trying to go to sleep, and we especially don't need sugar energy right before we go to sleep, because that really kicks things up, and it's what we call fast energy. It's what we need when we need a quick boost of energy, and that's not what we need right before bedtime.
Right. Yeah, that's so true, Allie. And I really like your point, putting down the electronics, your phones and your iPads, and if you're reading a book at night, make sure you're not reading it on a Kindle, because that, again, that's still an electronic. So that's going to do the same thing as if you were on your iPad or your phone. So using one of those good old-fashioned books that's made out of paper. Yes, I think that's a great idea. Yeah, and it's
A
so true
lot.
too, because if you having your last meal like at 7, if you're going to go to bed at 10, not having a big meal at
Yeah,
night
and
makes a big difference.
absolutely, yes. And with books, even I found myself, I have to make sure I read the right kind of book. Because if I read a really exciting, interesting book before bed, that can keep me up. So even if it's not on the Kindle, something that, is going to help me down. And yes, not eating a big meal before bed. We don't need calories equal energy, and we don't need energy to go to sleep. We actually need to start winding down that energy.
Absolutely. Great. Let's move on to tip number 3. And that's talking about eating and drinking for success the night before. And we touched on that a little bit, but let's go into that with more detail now. What are some really good things that we would want to eat or drink the night before if we're going to be working out that following morning?
Well, one of the things we really don't want to be drinking the night before, unfortunately, I know some people don't want to hear this, but a lot of people like to have their glass of wine at night before they go to bed. And then if they're planning on getting up and getting a workout in the next morning, that's not going to be the best choice. For one, again, we're spiking our blood sugar before we go to bed, and we're taking a depressant, which is going to make it harder to get up and have energy the next morning. So if it's a workout day, if I've got to get up at 5:30 the next day and go and work out, not my body before going to bed, and it's not going to help me get up and just be ready to go and get a good workout the next morning. It's actually going to hinder me. And a lot of people think that they're doing that because it helps them go to sleep. A lot of ladies say, oh, well, I need the wine because that helps me go to sleep. What it doesn't help them do is get up the next morning and feel like going and getting in a great workout. So it's actually one of the things that hinders. So that would be a drink to avoid. As far as drinks too, one of the things that I've done is just a little bit of a protein, not a full scoop, just a little protein. I know, working at the liquid egg white's a plug. They, even recommend you can drink just a little bit of liquid egg white with something in it to flavor it. But something that'll just enough if you do need something before bed. Drinking a little bit of protein shake is what I would normally recommend. Something along those lines that doesn't spike your sugar before bedtime.
Yeah. And what kind of foods, like for a dinner, knowing that you're going to have a workout in the morning, what type of dinners would you recommend? What types of proteins or what kind of carbs would you recommend?
Depending on the time that you eat, it's going to depend on how much you want to eat at that dinner. And I really go the whole day and look for two things. And a carb and protein combination is what I recommend for my clients. Even at night, yeah, you want to watch, just eating a straight up carb meal. But I don't mind. A lot of people recommend that you cut carbs out at dinner. And I guess I a little err on the side of as long as you're putting that with a protein and you're eating a lean protein and you're not going crazy with the carbs, I don't have a problem with us getting in a good solid lean protein with a carb and some veggies, and I consider veggies freebies. So if you wanted to have, say, a piece of fish and maybe a little rice and some veggies, I think that's a balanced dinner, and it's not going to spike your blood sugar because you've got the protein to help balance out. But I really go for balance, and I think that that's such an important thing with eating is making sure that you are getting balanced. And and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But, you know, getting that lean, and when I say that's really the key with protein at night, is getting a lean protein. So you're not putting a lot of fat in your system right before you go to bed. So something like a fish or chicken or turkey or something that is like the, you know, protein shake or something that is a lean, lower fat protein at night with a carb and a veggie.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, we've even my husband and I have even been eating a little bit more vegetarian meals, which because the vegetables are freebies, but we've been finding ways that we're getting proteins in different types of vegetables. So that's actually been a really neat way to get a different type of protein coming into our body using a little bit of soy or seitan or combinations of different types of beans and things. So some nights we'll do fish, and sometimes I'll do steak still, or sometimes we'll do salmon, or a little bit of chicken and turkey, or sometimes it's just a full-on veggie meal. So yeah, I think it's depending on what type of workout you're doing that next morning and what time that you're eating your dinner. If you're eating your dinner a little bit sooner, like at the 6 or 7, and you're going to bed about 3 hours later, then I think it's okay to have a little bit of a more full-size meal. But if you're eating a little bit later, I would say decrease all of your portion sizes of each of them. So instead of like a 6 or 7 ounce steak, it might be a 4 ounce steak, and shrink it up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because again, like we talked about, you don't need a ton of energy to go to sleep. In fact, you just want enough so you can go to sleep. So yeah, I think that's a real important point that you did bring up, Alli. Great. Let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to our fourth tip. So, how do we create a workout space or environment that's free from distractions?
So many of us, the world is, we all have good intentions when it comes to exercise, and I'm sure so many of the people listening to this have some kind of exercise equipment at home somewhere, and oftentimes maybe in a basement, equipment in a garage, and one of the challenges, we have really good intentions when we purchase this home equipment, maybe videos or things that we just really plan to do at home. But the challenge becomes in our home environment, we have so many other distractions and so many things that we need to do or that we see, or maybe, if you do have family members at home, that could be a big distraction when you're trying to work out. And some people that are able to create a space that they can go and maybe close the door, and that is their workout space, and really create that environment that is appealing and that draws you in, not just the treadmill maybe tucked in the corner of the basement or tucked in your bedroom with a bunch of clothes hanging on. That's not really going to be the kind of environment that's going to make you want to go and exercise. And even finding ways to I like to make deals with myself as far as exercise goes, and this I think can fall under creating an environment. One of the things that I used to do with myself when I competed, and I still do it now, sometimes I would make deals with myself that if there's a certain TV show that I wanted to watch, the only way I could watch it was if I was on the Stairmaster. So if I didn't get on the Stairmaster, I didn't get to watch my favorite show. And so that was one way, a different way of creating an environment for me, kind of set it up where, I had access to that TV where I was going to be exercising. And I was actually going to a fitness facility that had a TV, but I would go at a time when my show was on so that it gave me an incentive and something to look forward to as far as the cardio piece of my workout. As far as going to a fitness center can be a really good, sometimes gyms can get a bad rap, and or sometimes they get a really good rap, and people go to different places, and some people are successful at home. It's really finding what works for you. And I meet with women all day long, every day, and so many of them have tried to do things at home, and one of the things that they don't have at home is they're not free of distractions, and they don't have any accountability or anyone guiding them or coaching them. So I think that that's also part of that environment. So finding out what is going to make you actually exercise and stick with it successful? Does that mean creating a kind of a sanctuary in your home? Does that mean getting a membership to a gym where you can go and get away from your normal environment and get into a different environment where when you get to the gym, what else are you going to do? The only thing you're going to do there is exercise. So you're not going to be washing clothes or, if you're watching TV, you're probably going to be watching it on an actual piece of exercise equipment. Or if you're going to a class, you're not going to be distracted. You've got someone leading you. Really finding a way to find what is going to get you get you to the workout, and whether that be at home or away.
Yeah, I think that's a great point is creating that environment, because I know after my first son was born and trying to lose that baby weight, but it was hard because I wasn't going to take him to like a daycare at a gym or anything like that while I went to work out. So plopped him in a little nap nanny on the couch, and I started doing my dance workouts. I did some Fast and Fierce workouts. But he was there and happy. We had the music going. He was dancing with me, and so sometimes you kind of have to transition with your workouts, depending on where you are in your life and what you have available. But yeah, creating that workout. I mean, whether it's outside and you're doing power walking with a friend, that could be your friend, that person that keeps you accountable. Okay, we're meeting.
Yes, and that's
Monday. Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, like if you meet with a friend, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6:30, you
Yeah,
gotta show
you make
up
such a
because
good
they're gonna be
point.
waiting for
Definitely
you.
with small children, we yes, having that accountability and getting creative when you do have small children, because that definitely is a different chapter in life. And so you do have to make some adjustments, and it really does take really figuring out what is working. And it for one person is not going to work for another. And so, like you said, strap on something, or you can do exercises with baby, or there's going out for walks, finding ways to adapt when your world changes and your life changes is very important. And that's when a lot of people get off track, is when we have some kind of big life change. And that really just requires, we have to change our strategy when our whole world has been flipped, turned upside down.
Right. So we have a couple of questions coming in right now, Allie, and I think this might be a good time to talk about them. We have one gal that says she's got a Nordic track, and she hasn't used it that much. And do we have any ways that we would recommend using that type of machine that's at her house?
The first, anything, well, it works if you use it. So that's going to be the trick, is figuring out how do you get yourself in a routine of actually going and using it. And you look at it, where is it located? Is it in a place that is accessible for you? And I think it says, it sits in your bedroom. That's what I'm looking at the question now. So it sits in the bedroom. What do you watch TV while you're on it? Do you read a book? Is there something that you do that also helps you through the workout? That would be one suggestion. Another would be just really picking a time and setting aside a time that you're going to do it. One of the things I tell my clients is, we don't try. Try is a lie. So when clients tell me they're going to try to do something, I usually call them out on it, and now they even call me out on it if I ever use that word. So we call that word, at the Pink Physique, we say that try is a bad word. So hoping, wishing, trying, those things don't get us results. We have to actually do it. So we do or we do not. There is a try. And setting a goal, it could be, I'm going to get on there 5 minutes tomorrow morning, and just pick one day to set the goal, and then set a new goal. It may be, I'm going to get on there at least 5 minutes, 2 days this week. Oftentimes we try to set these huge goals of, I'm hitting on there and I'm going to walk for 2 hours every day today, or maybe we don't set quite that extreme, but we do set really bold goals when we haven't been doing anything consistently. So starting with something really small, and with that Nordic track, I would say that was 5 minutes. You don't have to get on there for 30 minutes. You will feel so much better if you just hop on there for 5 minutes in the morning and then start your day. Start there and then just go as you grow.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely a little bit at a time just to get it started. And I was also going to say on the Nordic track, if you haven't used it for a while, one thing you might try doing is going into a store that does sell fitness equipment, because it's really important to make sure you have it on the right setting. Because I know with the Nordic skier, I think there's a balance in the front by the stomach, and you want to have the arms, because that's a good one because it is the whole full body. Because you're using your legs, it's like a skier. You also have the arms. I'm pretty sure, depending on what model you have. So it's great for upper body and lower body, and of course you're using all the muscles. So you're going to be getting your heart rate up. Um, so if you're not sure on the setting, what I would do is I would go into a store that actually sells the Nordic equipment, and the salespeople there will be really helpful, and they can say, well, this is where you want to make sure you hit it properly on your waist to give you the right support. These are the different settings that you can use on it. And I think, any store that has a gym equipment, if you don't have a store that's right near you, there might even be a gym in your area that has that machine there that might even be helpful in letting you know how to use it. But I always say it's so important to have the right form, because if you're practicing something and you're not quite doing it right, you could be working your muscles in the wrong way, and then keeping to doing that, then you could actually create injury, and then that would set you back and not move you forward in your training or your progressions like that. So making sure that the setting is right, learning the different settings that you can use for the different challenges, whether you're using it for like an interval training, or if you're just using it for like a steady cardio, or if you can do it manually where you can change the resistance when you're ready to move up and bring it back down. I think those are a couple really good ways. And I think, like Alli said, just getting started. Okay, 5 minutes today for Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Next week it's 10 minutes, and keep going from there and building upon that. So, and you'll be able to know if your body can take a little bit more. I think getting started gradually is a good way to do it, but our bodies are pretty strong and pretty resilient. And so I think gradually getting started and challenging yourself some. We had another question regarding using the 30 minutes of cardio, but this is April, and she said she does 30 minutes of cardio, and sometimes she feels like she needs to do more. And one of my recommendations is I have found a 30-minute workout can be really great, especially if you do intervals with that. So you could increase your intensity and at different durations. An easy way to get started is you can either move the intensity or the resistance like an incline. One of those variables, you can make it so it's a lot tougher, and you can do that for the 2 minutes, and then you can bring it back down to more of a moderate workout to bring your heart rate back down just a little bit for like a 3 minutes. So that would give you a 5-minute chunk. 2 minutes, you're working really hard. 3 minutes, you're recovering. 2 minutes, you take it back up. 3 minutes, you recover. If you do that for about five times, that gives you 25 minutes. If you do another 5 to 8 minutes warm up, 5 to 8 minutes cool down, there you go. You have 30 to 40-minute workout right there. And that's definitely going to change your intensity level, obviously. Your calorie burn is going to be a lot more. Your heart rate and your cardiovascular is going to be getting stronger because of the challenging, because you're intensifying it, and then it's having time to recover. So those are a couple of ways that there's a lot of variations of intensity and interval training, but that's a good one to get started with. What do you think, Alli?
Yeah, and that was one of my questions. She talks about cardio, but I wonder if she's doing any strength training. And as far as cardio, I don't want to have to stay 40 minutes or 60 minutes on any machine. I'm all for doing just picking it up and getting it done. And what you talked about doing intervals or intensity, you can get a great cardio workout in 15 minutes if you challenge yourself. And I know, Laura, you've heard of even some Tabata training that's 4 minutes even, if you're really, really going all out high intensity. So, depending on how much time someone has, and just really combining, making sure you're getting resistance training, because so many women, what I see too often is we're just focusing so much on cardio, and we will spend 40, 50, 60 minutes or more doing cardio and doing it multiple days. But the piece that we're really missing is the one is resistance training. And that is also, just like I look at food balance, I also look at cardio to strength training balance. And what is the balance there? Is your cardio here and your strength training like way down here somewhere? Or do you have more balance in the two? So I would definitely want to ask she's also doing resistance training.
Yeah, that's an awesome point, Allie. And that's another way that you could do the interval training is doing the high intensity for 2 minutes, hop off the machine. You could do a set of lunges, squats, push-ups, and then hop back on, do another 2 minutes, and then jump off. You could do some dips, some bicep curls, some planks,
Yes.
and again, kind of alternating with a strength and then that high intensity endurance like that. So those are different combinations. That way you're absolutely getting that strength training. You're also getting your cardiovascular, you're getting that high calorie burn, and boom, you're done in 30 or 40 minutes. Yeah, I love that. I've never been one to want to spend hours in the gym. I've just never, even when I was competing, I wasn't like that. I was like, let's get this done. Let's do as high intensity as we can. And yeah, so because I think you can really push your body, and especially with there's a lot of really neat types of training that there's more research on. Like I think Allie, you mentioned the Tabata training, where you go 20 seconds all out, like balls to the walls, 20-second recovery, and then again 20 seconds all out, 20-second recovery. That's a 4-minute workout, and that's it. And surprisingly, you don't think you can get that much done in that time. Yeah, try a 4-minute workout. It's going to seem like 40 minutes. It's tough. You could do that like on a spin bike or on a cardio machine that you're using. Yeah, you could try that anywhere, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and with joint, some people do have joint issues, and so depending on the client, sometimes I'll go over more high, and some people can do things that get their heart rate up more. Some people, if they have joint issues, it may make more sense for them to go a little bit longer and go a little bit slower based on how their body's feeling. Of course, if they have heart issues, I mean, I have clients that have, run the gamut from healthy to no joint issues to maybe joint issues to maybe heart issues. So it really depends on what's going on with your body as to what the best workout for you is going to be. The spin bike, though, is a good way too. I like that one because it doesn't bother the joints, but it really does get the old heart ticking pretty quick. So that's a good option to do a high without the impact of some of the high intensity.
Right. Gosh, we've had so many great questions coming in, but we're gonna move on just a little bit more because we've got a couple more points that we want to share with you. So our next tip, and then we'll try and interject some questions here. So our next tip number 5, let's see, we are talking about building accountability, competition for yourself, and goals. This is really really an important way to keep yourself in check for your fitness workouts. So, Allie, why don't you tell us just a little bit more what you're talking about as far as the accountability?
Sure. So yes, as far as talking about no fail ways, no fail strategies to get in your workouts, if you've got accountability, you are twice as much likely to do the exercise or do a workout than if you have no accountability. And we see this all the time with people that are working with a trainer. Laura, you train people and I train people, and people that are training, those are the people we see in there working out. They have someone that is holding them accountable, and they show up. And or if you, like Laura talked about, having a friend to meet you to walk with, and someone, some kind of accountability that is there is going to be huge thing as far as making sure whether you get in that workout or whether you don't. And some may have some, the reason I put competition and goals, because I know for me, when I was competing, and Laura, I'm sure you can attest to this too, when you are really competing and you know that your competitor is in the gym right now working out really hard and she's just going all out, and you know that you're going to have to get up there and stand next to her and compete with her, you get yourself to the gym and you don't miss workouts when you've got that goal. You've got a date, you've got a deadline, and you know exactly what you're shooting for and exactly what you need to work on. And having that kind of competition or that kind of goals and that kind of deadline, I know that I did not miss when I was getting ready for a competition. You just didn't do it. It was almost a little obsessive about as far as getting in your workout. But for what we find even at the Physique, we do incentive programs. And when we have an incentive program going on, we have people, they'll come in more, they want to get points, they want to win prizes, they want to win and get more points than this lady over here. So having some kind of competition and accountability definitely pushes them. We do 21-day programs, 6-week programs, and same kind of thing. We'll have a deadline and a date. They know when there's a start and when there's an end and what they're shooting for. It really helps them as far as sticking with the exercise versus just saying, oh, do I want to go to the gym today? Or, oh, I don't think I feel like it today. There's no accountability. It's really hard, and we beat ourselves up. I know as women for not exercising. Oh, I should get to the gym, or oh, I should exercise, and we go back into that shoulda, woulda, coulda, or I tried. Versus when we have accountability, we have a coach, or we have someone meeting us there, or we have a goal that we're working towards. That's the way to be successful.
Right. Yeah, I think it's so true, Allie, that you talk about the accountability, whether it's a friend, a trainer, a spouse. And the competition, I think you can have a competition with yourself because I think sometimes we get started on our workouts and we're like, okay, great, I'm exercising Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but I'm kind of doing the same thing. But so what is your goal? Like sometimes it's good to set like a monthly goal or like you said, a 21-day goal. Or okay, so in 2 months, I want to see this happen. I want to see that I can do 50 push-ups again. I feel really strong, or I want to be able to run a mile, or I want to be able, finding something that a goal that you can strive for, or I want to, drop an inch in my waist. Summer is here. I want to feel comfortable in that bikini. Yeah, those are all achievable goals, and they all give you like kind of a start and an end, which is really important because with a goal, if you don't know what you're aiming for, then you're just going to be flailing, and then you're never going to know if you even got there or not, or you won't even have a route to get to. So yeah, I think having your accountability person, a competition, whether you're getting on stage or a competition with yourself, making yourself better, and the goals, where are you starting and where do you want to end for that? I think those are so important, Allie.
Yeah, the goals can be, I'm going to get on the treadmill 3 times this week if I'm not doing anything, or I'm going to get on there 1 time this week. It doesn't have to be I'm going to lose 200 pounds. Some of our ladies, their goal is getting up and down off the floor without using their hands or being able to get up and down. That's really one of their goals, or be able to do a full sit-up. Some of those just simple things that are just lifestyle things that maybe we can't find something that you can't do right now. Some people would say, well, being able to do one pull-up. It doesn't have to be some big lofty goal.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So we've got 3 more points that we're going to talk a little bit about nutrition now. Um, so let's see, let's move on to the next one. We're going to talk about the 3 best nutritional goals to set and keep. And the first tip is drinking naturally flavored water and avoid heavy liquid calories that can pack on the pounds. So Allie, tell us a little bit more what you mean about the naturally flavored water, because I know some people just don't like drinking water. I am not one of those. I carry a water bottle with me everywhere we go, it seems. And in fact, the other night we went into a restaurant and it was in my purse still. And I told my husband, I don't need to bring my water bottle in. He's like, leave it, we're going. It happened.
I have no problems drinking water either, but I did at one time, so I know that that can be a huge issue and a huge challenge and something that I've personally struggled with. Now it's no longer a challenge for me, but at one time it was. And first I want to say, when I'm talking about food and nutrition and how to get lean, and we talk about these 3 tips, one thing I want to point out is I consider anything that you put in your mouth that has calories to be a meal, whether it's liquid, or whether it's something that you chew. If it has calories, I consider it to be a meal. Starting with clients, that's one of the first things I teach them. Every calorie, anything with calories is a meal. I don't care if it's a glass of wine, or if it is a protein shake, or what. If it has calories or it's juice, it is a meal. So you want to consider it like a meal. And as far as eating meals that you chew versus meals that you drink, now is always going to be the best option. If you can chew your food and get your calories through food that is chewed and not liquid calories, you're on the right track. Now there are some healthy that we can drink, but for the most part, most of the things that we're drinking are not going to help us as far as belly fat or getting leaner, getting to our goals as far as weight loss and getting tight. The thing about flavored, naturally flavored water is it is a step. It does give water a little bit of flavor. If you're used to drinking sodas, as I was addicted to regular sodas, and then I got addicted to diet sodas, and then I stopped drinking sodas for a while. And then I started back drinking diet sodas and was addicted to them again and had to stop that again. And soda is if it has sugar in it or high fructose corn syrup, it has a lot of water, does not. So if you're used to drinking something that has way off the charts flavor, you're not going to like the taste of plain old water. So for some people, they need something in between. And I feel like in life, sometimes we need crutches. And so sometimes I even have clients that will go to some artificially flavored waters in the meantime as they're working their way down, because they find it so hard to go from these highly flavored drinks all the way down to water. But naturally flavored water is another way to get a little bit of in that water. So you can infuse it with fruit. You can put fruit in your water. Citrus is a really good thing, and I love in water. If you do want flavored water, I think that just gives it a little bit of just peppermint or some kind of mint, gives it a little bit of just makes it refreshing to you. And it does give it something that just, so it's not just plain old water. But the more you drink water and the more you move away from those highly, highly flavored drinks, the more you're going to like plain water. But it is a process. It's not something that just happens overnight. And as far as alcohol, that's another one we talked about earlier. One of the things that I tell people, some people wanting alcohol and abs do not mix because of the calories. Alcohol is actually in a category all its own. It's not a carb, fat, or protein. It's alcohol. And it has more calories per gram than carbs do. A lot of women are scared of carbs, but they have no problem drinking alcohol. Alcohol has more calories per gram than carbs do, or protein. So it's one of those things that really, abs and alcohol don't mix. So if we want to get to our goals of getting, the number one nutrition tip would be watch what you're putting in your mouth that's liquid. Same thing with juices. A lot of people think because it's a juice and it's fruit that it's healthy, but it is loaded with sugar and it's spiking your blood sugar and it's just going to store in your body. You don't have time to burn that off. So drinking your juice is not the way to go. You want to eat your fruit, don't drink it. So avoiding those extra liquid calories is going to make a huge difference in your goals as far as if you're wanting to lose weight.
Right. Yeah, that's so true. We always say that the abs are made in the kitchen, and if you're drinking alcoholic beverages, that's not going to help. Yeah, that'll add that extra little rim around the waistline instead of shrinking it up like we'd like to do. Lastly, let's go to the last tip that we have here, that you mentioned about combining a lean protein and a vegetable-rich carb at the end of at each meal to boost energy and to melt fat away. I love this. This is so true. Having some type of lean protein. And your protein, it doesn't always have to be meat, but it definitely can because that's an obvious choice of finding a good lean protein. So, Alli, why don't you tell us some of the recommendations that you use with your clients regarding the lean proteins? And can you share with us a few of the rich carbs, the vitamin-rich carbs that you like to have your clients use?
Sure. One of the things that when most people come to me, and I live in Georgia and in the South, and we're drinking sweet tea and eating fried chicken and fried this and buttered vegetables, and we eat a very, very unhealthy diet as far as weight loss, weight management, fat loss and disease, diabetes, all these. So one of the things I'm doing is really working with clients to take steps in the right direction. So we have to overhaul everything. But most people that I meet are not getting any vegetables in their diet at all, or if they are, they're fried or cooked in butter and other things that we like to use in the South. If they are, or they're not getting any vegetables at all. And the other thing that I see is when they are eating, they're eating very fatty carbs typically, or fatty proteins. And so one of the things to start with is just working on cleaning those things up and working on portion size. Depending on how often that person is eating will depend on the recommendations that I might make for them. But one rule of thumb that I like to use is the fifth size for meat, a serving of meat, and the fifth size for a like starchier carb. And then vegetables, I tell people go crazy with those as long as they're not cooked in butter and fried and aren't covered in all kind of other stuff. Veggies, green, look for color when you're eating your veggies. Add, different carrots and then something with some greens and go with the yellow squashes and just look for variety with vegetables and finding ways to work those into it, whether it's a sandwich or a wrap or a salad. There's always ways that we can work veggies in. But one thing that I see that women do when they eat salad, we do think that's kind of our go-to if we're trying to lose weight or trying to work on bikini, getting in the bikini or getting ready to fat. Because we have the cheeses on them, we have the dressings on them, we have the bacon bits on them, we have different kinds of nuts, which can be good, but it just adds another fat to the mix. We have all these fats, and we got some lettuce and maybe some fruit, and that's it. And so one of the things I work with is getting rid of some of those fats, adding a lean protein to that salad, and then you've got your vegetables there, and you can, of course, add any vegetables that you want to the salad, and going smaller portions on the dressings and those kind of things. You want to start where you are, and one of the first things that I like to do with a client is really just look at their food, have sit down and write down, and be something that you are watching to do. Just sit down and write down everything you've had to eat, the time that you ate today, what was in everything that you ate, and really just take a look at it. I like doing it on paper because you can really just see the whole day and really just see that picture. Are there any vegetables in your whole day when you write it down? How much fat do you see? Were there fried foods on there? Is there butter added to any of the foods that you're eating? All those little things that we eat, like I said, if it goes in your mouth, it counts. Everything, when a lot of times people just put, oh, I had a burger. Say that the burger had cheese on it, and then it had mayonnaise on it, and then it had avocado on it, and it had all these things. Again, some of those things can be good, but as they start piling on, it adds up. So you want to look at everything that was on that sandwich or that burger, write it all down, and really take a look at it and see, do you see vegetables, do you see high fat, do you see fried foods, and what are you drinking? And look at the balance of your food. Most people that I sit down with, their food is way out of balance on the high fat and high carb and very low on the lean protein. Especially women, we don't get enough protein that's lean.
I know. It's so true, Alli. That's really a good point, especially counting everything, the condiments, the portion size. I think that's so important, and to really it gives you an idea because you might think, oh, I'm just eating a burger, but then when you write down the other 12 things that are on top of it, then okay, then we got something to work with here for sure. Allie, I can't believe our time has flown so fast. We're already at the end, and I just wanted to give you a great big thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your knowledge with our listeners today. We still have more questions, and we didn't get to finish all of them, but we're going to be sending out an email tomorrow or Wednesday and giving you guys some more information on what you can, some more of the talking points and some more links if you want to ask some more questions. So we're so glad you were here today. And Allie, thank you so much. This is wonderful having you here on our Master Fitness class. And thank you everyone for being on the call. And we will look forward to having you here again.